Tell me when we're on.
I think you're on. Yep, we're on.
Okay, I'll start over again. Call the meeting to order, all members are present. Is anybody recording the meeting other than DPW personnel? If not, we can pass over that aspect of things and get on to the first order of business. We've got review and approval of the minutes of the meeting dated October 27th, 2021. I looked at the minutes. I think that was a recorded, as I recall, it was a recorded meeting because I looked at something that I thought was that.
Okay.
And so I think we're probably in a position to approve them unless there's some objection.
I move to approve the minutes as presented.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes. Okay, next order of business is the Nickel Street opening with HUD. Is it Angel or Angel? Do we know?
Angel.
Angel?
It's
Okay.
Angel, yes.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
It's Angel, is it?
It is.
Okay, okay, Angel, thank you for coming. The note we have on our agenda is a request for a waiver of the 5-year moratorium for intrusions on the roadway of Nickel Street for 50, as I understand, for 57 and 59 Nickel Street, is that correct?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your request?
So, I guess, hello, my name is Angel DeJesus, and I am the owner of 5759 Nickel Street. And the reason that I'm here today is because we recently bought 57 Nickel Street in September of 21. So one of our goals for the property was to convert it from oil to gas. So we were informed due to the road being paved that there was a 5-year moratorium. So we have spoken to the tenants and they reiterated that they would like to control their heat due to the fact that oil prices has been rising and we are unable to convert. So the cost will have to be passed on to our tenants. So I am here to ask for approval for reinstalling the gas conversion to 5759 Nickel Street.
I just have a few questions.
Sure.
When you acquired this in September,
I did.
you realized that the road was paved, newly paved, just prior to that, as I understand it, not August,
It was an odd.
Mr. Arnold,
Okay.
it was just recently paved,
Right.
and we've had in the past problems with, after the paving fact, with people looking to cut open a newly paved road, and sometimes it gets patched properly, sometimes it doesn't, depending upon who it is, and so we established this moratorium, so to let newly paved roads sit, and if you need to intrude upon it, do it before it's paved. And I understand, so this is just within less than a year that it's been paved. But you have heat now, am I correct?
Right, right. So we did have it. We weren't aware of any moratorium because we were actually in the process of purchasing the property. So, but there is a pipe there. So I get it was, since it hasn't been used for I don't know how many years from Unitel. So I guess when it was paved, it was taken out. That's what we heard from Unitel. So they went to check. So they said there was no pipe there, but there was a pipe there before that can convert it. So I don't know how big would the cut be that would have to be resurfaced or redone. But I mean that was our understanding from Unitel. So I'm just here. I mean the connection's still there. So I guess the pipe would be running from more to the property inside, but maybe it would cut in because obviously they're going to have to put a new
Do you know where the gas main is?
I have
In
not
the road?
I have not, since I'd spoken to Unitel. They're more aware of that than I am. I'm just here because I need to convert it because.
Well, you'd like to, yeah,
Yeah.
I understand.
Yeah.
I understand. Do we know where in the roadway the gas
I
main is
don't.
located?
I mean, they could dig safe it and they could tell us, but one way or the other, they're probably going at least 6-8 feet into the road with the gas line.
Yeah.
via service.
So that'd be almost halfway across.
That's typical.
Yeah.
If it's on the other side of the road, then obviously they got trench.
And we don't know where in relation to your frontage
Right,
the service would be.
right. So, I mean, I think that's more for Unitil, because to be specific on, I have no idea when it comes to that.
So you want to dig up the road, but you don't know how much of it
Right.
or where it would be.
Yeah. So that's what I guess, I did not know that, but I think if that was one of the questions, I would have asked Unitil to be specific, so I could have brought that.
Well, you can understand why we would like to have that information.
Absolutely.
About how much of the road would be disturbed, where it would be, what the plan would be for making it, for restoring it to its current condition. And those are things that we have to
Is there a
consider.
minimum, or that I can actually talk to them to see how far, if they do check?
What I'd like to see is a little sketch or a map of the roadway,
Okay,
where the main is, where the service is, an estimate of what the excavation would involve. I think, your request, I understand it, what you'd like to do and why you'd like to do it. I think we need, my own view is that we need a lot more information in order to give you a fair assessment of our feelings about.
Okay.
Because right now, we're kind of dealing in the blind.
right, so I guess in my part, just talking to Unitil to see if they do have, I'm sure they will have a roadmap.
Well, I'm sure they can locate it.
So, yeah, I mean,
But I'd suggest, and I don't want to speak for my fellow councilors and members of the committee, but I think we might be better off to defer action on this until you can provide us with some information along the lines that, as much information as you can. And you understand what our concern is.
fair enough.
Is the disturbance of a public way that was just paved within a
Right.
year.
Right.
What do you guys think?
And it sounds like the tenants are the ones who would like to make this change to gas.
Pretty much, because obviously we would have to pass on that cost to them.
Right, and I'm not sure if your tenants are aware of the 2004 policy, maybe Director Arnold could speak to it, about the fee also imposed for opening the road.
Again, that would be part of his waiver, I guess we could ask to waive the $5,000 fee, but that's just a.
Oh, that was included in the waiver?
Well, it wasn't included in the
Hasn't been
request,
discussed,
but
no.
that would be something that
So there's
you
another.
may want to amend your request if that's what you're going to be asking for.
Okay,
There's a fee associated with that kind of a disturbance
Okay.
of the roadway.
yeah, I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah.
I guess along those lines too as well with the disturbance of the roadway and how much the repair and how it would be done too, I guess, it'd be up to par with Director Arnold.
Like a contractor's estimate
Yeah.
or,
I think with Unitil, I think with gas,
They have to
they
do
would handle everything. I've done it already on, I have another property on Main Street, and I've already done oil to gas, so that's why I'm like, okay, we can do this on this property, but I didn't know about the moratorium.
yeah, I understand. Well, we're happy to consider it and maybe just table this thing for the time being and provide you an opportunity to provide us with this additional information.
Absolutely.
If you're willing to do that, then
Yes.
we'll give it a fair shot.
Okay, awesome.
So move to defer or to table the item.
So
Pending.
Second.
Is there further discussion, other inquiries that you guys have?
Not this time.
And I just say to make sure you're in close contact with the DPW so that all the information is collected and needed, so.
Yeah, you
Awesome.
can submit it
Yes,
here to the DPW.
absolutely.
You have my email, right?
I do.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, just-
I spoke to you?
Yep.
Okay, yeah, awesome, that's good.
And a reasonable time of 60 days?
That should be, I think if you want to short it, probably 30 days. I'm always over here every other week, so I'm sure whenever they send me, I can't believe it would be.
Well, I
more
just,
than 2
we need
weeks.
to have it ahead of time in order
Right.
to be familiar with
Yeah.
what it is.
Okay.
We don't want you to, in 30 days, to be submitting it at the hearing.
Yeah, no, that's fine. That's what I was gonna say. I think 30 days would be good.
Okay.
Yeah.
The road opening was, April 1st is actually the first day.
First day you can do it, yeah, so,
Okay,
okay,
perfect.
that's fair.
Yeah.
So, any further discussion?
No.
All those in favor, right?
Aye.
Those opposed, no? Motion to table passed. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Take care. Stay in touch.
Enjoy the rest of the day.
Yes, enjoy.
How many tenants do you have there at that location, by the way?
I have 7.
7?
Yeah.
7 apartments?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Next order of business is the 10 Boulevard Street, a request for abatement of the bill. Is the applicant here?
She's not. And she asked if possible, she could be put on the next meeting.
This is the second time she's requesting that. Was there an explanation or a reason why she couldn't be here?
Just that work and trying to get home, you
I understand.
know. Yeah.
I mean, and there's a $2,200 bill that's unpaid. I think we should give her one more chance, myself. What do you guys think?
I think that's fair.
Agreed.
We'll see.
I think you'll let her know to put it on the next meeting's agenda, and that will be the final time that we consider it.
Okay.
Is that fair?
Yeah, move to postpone till the next meeting.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Okay, next order of business, department updates. Public Works, floor is yours, Mr. Arnold.
All right, thank you. I put in a couple of handouts that I dropped off today. One is the road opening policy, which after discussions with the chair and talking to the mayor today, we're gonna take this policy and we're actually gonna convert it to an ordinance. Put it in ordinance form and draft it and submit it to the service committee and then submit it to the council as a whole. This will probably be done in the next few months because we have some water and sewer ordinances that we're drafting as well. So maybe we just do like a large
Integrated,
submittal and clean everything up. So, so we're gonna, again, putting this in ordinance form.
What happened, I told Councilor Dearlouds about this before you arrived, is that I inquired of the director what the authority was for the Public Service Committee to approve or disapprove a waiver of moratorium. And it turns out that it's in a policy of the DPW rather than in an ordinance, and it really belongs, we're gonna have that authority.
Right.
And make sure, and if you could just take a look at the same time with, you know, the authority to abate bills, whether that's codified. I think it is.
I believe that is,
Yeah,
yeah.
I think,
I'll double check that.
good enough.
The other handout I did was, at the top, some important information about the drinking water. Little background, we have been doing at the Crystal Lake Water Treatment Facility. Water is treated out of Crystal Lake, it's gone through the filters. Below the first floor are 2 clear wells which store the water. And then from there, they're pumped up to the elevated tanks up on Reservoir Hill. One of them was taken offline, we're doing some maintenance on it, we're recoating the inside of it, we're gonna do both of them, but we're doing one, you have to do it one at a time. When they put the coating on it, they cleaned it, they cleared it, they got past everything to put back online from DEP, we filled it up with water, we sent the water out. It had a chlorine level of just under 1, which I guess 1 is the limit, so we actually was in violation of water. There's no bacteria in our water, the water's still portable. It's just, we were under the limit. So we have to send this notification out to all the residents, so you'll be receiving one probably within 2 weeks at the most.
Mm-hmm. So, and that's a federal requirement, a regulatory requirement?
State DEP
State
requirement.
DP.
Yeah. So they reviewed it, they're okay, there's no Boil Water Act or anything like that, it's just a notification.
And it's now in compliance,
Yes.
most recently?
It was within 40 minutes in compliance, it just dropped down just the initial volume.
Are there controls that notify the people operating that,
Yes.
that it dropped below that?
It's all automated and
Yeah,
notified.
so it's automated to keep it at the proper level too, I assume?
Yes. Let's see, behind you and also in front of you is a draft paving list and plan, and it's easier to look at the large map and I can just point. This is Parker Street, West Street, We did the water main project. Everything in blue is where we replaced water main, and everything in red is where we didn't. The water main project, I can repave that with water funds. I'm gonna be actually asking the city for $1.5 million loan to cover paving this and some of the outstanding areas in town, like Woodland Avenue, Pearl Street, and whatnot. So I'll be presenting $1.5 million loan to the city council and obviously service committee.
Be paid from, just
Be paved or
paid,
paid out of water.
water available?
Yes. It still don't have to affect the rates or anything like that, the rates, I don't have to increase the rates or whatnot, so. But if we just look at this area, I can pave all this out of the water rates. And we're looking at how do we tie in, because it's not gonna look right if we miss on some of these portions. So I highlighted this area, and I came up with a price on what it would cost to repave everything in red, and the green is actually sidewalks, and upgrading the sidewalks, so it's kind of
Asphalt sidewalk?
asphalt sidewalks.
Mhm.
So that what you see there is your spreadsheet on what it's gonna cost. So I have, for the total water, what it's gonna cost to pave everything in water is about 1.8 million. I have that much, $367,000 left remaining from the 11 million.
Existing one? Yeah.
So that's what I would need, so I'd go in and ask for 1.5. If I look at all the city's portion, including the walks, it's about 925, including the walks, and the Lawrence Street walk, which we looked at with the new school opening up, adding, and this would be an asphalt walk going from Elm Street out to Pearl Street. It's about 52 grand, and with the school opening up, we'd start to be.
It says Temple Street to Cross Street.
It's Maple Grove.
Okay. It is Pearl?
It's Pearl.
Okay,
Yeah,
so if you're gonna amend it.
Yeah. So you get the Lawrence Street route, so this would be the total portion of what the city's cost, which is 1.1 million. The city roughly gets $600,000 a year from the state for Chapter 90. I don't think that's gonna change, it's roughly right around there. I have money left over in Chapter 90, and I have money left over in the city's paving account. So what I would need is to come to the city and ask the mayor for about $260,000, and that would cover
All of
everything.
this.
But that would leave no money for anything else in the city. It would just be paving that area. So that's some discussion that I'm having with the mayor.
Do we have any guidance on whether this kind of project would be covered under the infrastructure legislation?
I hear yes, they can give money for water and sewer projects. There's also money, I believe, available, but I don't know what the details are, the mayor money.
Mm-hmm. So this, it doesn't have any of that
No.
in consideration?
Nope, it's just, these are just numbers and what we need to do the project. Where the money comes from, I don't know. So, moving forward, the city just needs to decide, maybe we don't do, maybe we don't do Jean and A Street and just concentrate on just the inner network and take some of the funds and do other streets, in other sections of the city. So that's something that's gonna need to be discussed.
Well, this is the mayor's call in the final analysis, as I understand.
Yes.
At least it is now.
Yes.
I think for your guys' benefit, when I first came on the council, money for paving was divided up by ward.
Okay.
That would be tough, on my end.
Well, and I think, just from the point of view of, locating equipment to do work, if you're locating in one area, it's a lot easier to,
Lack of efficiency is doing a little bit here, a little bit there.
yeah. Well, but in any event, it's now the call out of the mayor as to what to approve and where the financing, subject to council approval if necessary, obviously, where the funding would come from and what would be done and where.
Everything I hear is all this money is available, but no one knows how to get it and how to
access
use it on. So that's what I'm
Mhm.
kind of listening to, so.
So you're less focused on the funding of it than on the location of what could be done.
Yeah, well,
Well, I mean, other than the water,
yeah.
water funding.
Yep. In that spreadsheet that you handed, the blue is everything that's gonna get paved in water by the water department. You know, and that's if I get the $1.5 million loan. Those are all the streets that were dug up under the water project.
Mhm.
And then below, which is in the, I'll call it the orange and white, that's the other section, just in that section of the plan.
Mhm.
Any questions?
No, do you need any action by us? And probably not.
Nope,
It's all
just
subject
a-
to the mayor's approval.
Yeah, just discussion.
And the funding of it will have to come to the council anyway.
Yeah. And I just wanted
For the
to-
loan order as well as any additional appropriation for pink and white and yellow.
And then any other color add to it.
Okay, good enough, thank you.
Um, We have a meeting on Tuesday with the state. It's a virtual meeting regarding the paving of Pearson Boulevard. So that is on the docket to get paved this summer, and so they're moving forward.
Yeah, I just went over it a couple of times today, and it's desperately in need.
That, Pearl Street's in pretty
Pearl
rough shape.
Street.
Yeah.
The guys have been up there. We started,
Pearl Street near the Rotary?
Whole thing.
The whole,
The whole thing.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's, what's bad is, it's not a pothole, it's just delaminating. You know,
Yeah,
so it's-
well, you can tell that, you know, the pothole's about 2 inches deep.
It's 6 feet wide.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so we're working on that. I'll have the crew up there as well. And just part of that intersection along with Elm and Green, as the Rotary, when that's reconstructed, that's all gonna get taken care of as well. I believe that's on the docket for 2024, hopefully it was on
The Rotary?
the Rotary.
Yeah.
Route
Is
140.
is the design of the Rotary finalized?
Yep, correct.
Okay. Maybe for our next meeting, we could go over that again.
Sure.
Just to, so we have an awareness of what the design elements are. And although it's finalized, it'd be good to know, we can report to them.
Do that. Route 140 is another street that, again, was a tip project, I think I brought it up before, that, they're looking at construction on that this year. I just don't know if it's summer or fall, I don't have a date, so.
And between what locations?
It's from the Green Street, from the horse stables, all the way to Winchendon. The city owns that, it's about 1.3 miles.
And that's a tip project.
Yes.
And the design is, well, there was not much design to that, I would assume.
I think it was 90K, I think we paid for it ultimately for that.
Yeah.
I believe. I mean, even Pearson Boulevard was that much. It was, I think it was 120 for Pearson Boulevard. And that's all I got.
Okay.
With Pearson, does that include sidewalk too?
Yes. Just from Williams to the Rotary. They're not going all the way into the intersection of South Main because they can't meet their own requirements, so they stop the project.
So Williams to the Rotary, they're not going all the way like through underneath, you're saying?
No, they're just going from Williams up to Olney Street.
Olney's right there, okay,
Yeah.
so just shy of the Rotary.
Yeah.
Okay, did you have some things for Chris to cover? or-
Yeah, you just want to give me an update that there was some requests for streetlights, one at the Beagle Club, that one's installed. The streetlight at the school access is not been put up yet. That was-
School access, to the new school access, you mean?
I'm sorry, the back access from Blanchard Street to the back of the high school.
Oh, okay.
So, I know it's on their list, it's just not done yet.
What's the status of lighting under the rotaries? Is that something that you guys are involved in?
It is, the state owns them.
Right.
And I believe it is the cost to repair them, because now that the rotary is done, there's a broken cable or conduit or something. I can't imagine they're gonna do that.
I know it's been a topic of concern for some time, that when they redid the rotaries, they're now blacked out.
Yeah, the conduit or something is crushed. That, I mean, the state paid for the rotary and the state did the work, and National Grid is not gonna touch it until they either receive funds or whatnot to fix it, so I don't think that's gonna happen.
Well, and the roadblock is national, who was responsible for the, I mean, it was a state project, but it was, but that part of it was done by National Grid, I assume. The laying of the conduit and the
Well,
design
the
of
conduit
it.
might have been in place, it was whether the contractor damaged the existing conduit.
Yeah.
I'm not in that.
No, no,
Yeah.
okay.
I'm just assuming that's how it's gonna happen, I don't.
Okay. I had, we'll get to council requests. Anything else on Chris's agenda? Katie, the floor is yours. Can you give us a little,
So, I don't have much going on as far as applications for conservation permits from residents and things like that, but I do have, I'm working on the Keys Road culvert grant, which
Right.
we were awarded $123,000 through a DER culvert grant. It's in the design phase right now with time bond.
I think we got some money on our agenda, money
Yes,
on our agenda.
because for the construction phase, I'm going for the MVP grant, which requires a new kind of flood design program to be used, which Time Bond didn't even have. So they have to charge us for it, obviously, and it's only.
Yeah, so this is for the design
It's for
part of the
design.
culvert.
Yep, and for me to be able to apply for the MVP grant for construction, it's a
You
requirement.
have to have a design in place.
You have to have that Atlas 14 flood mapping on top of the FEMA flood mapping design. So just kind of a new software within the past couple of years that we weren't really aware of. So,
Okay.
and we definitely want to go for the MVP grant because they fund up to $3 million.
For construction.
For construction, it's a good year for them. They have a lot of funding in
The
it.
flush.
The problem is, it's a 25% match,
So in addition to the design, there would be a 25% match?
the design's gonna be done on June 30th, so all that's all, then we have to, get the money for construction, and Ty and Bond thinks it's gonna be upwards of, between 1 and 1.5 million for construction. So I'm going for the MVP grant, but on top of that, I'm gonna do the next round of the DER culvert grant. And they'll award up to 400,000. And then I'm going for the small bridge grant under the state, because Keys Road Bridge is 20 feet or wider.
So it fits within their.
It fits within it, maybe a little less likely to get that one, because there's a little more different qualifications. The bridge has to be failing. The good thing that's on my side is that that's the only way in and out for that neighborhood. There's no detour.
So it's just one access and egress, right?
One access, yeah, so if it were to fail, we'd have big problems for emergency access, anything, people just
Yeah,
going to work.
there's a fair number of
Yeah,
households down there.
yeah, and a lot of them are elderly,
Mhm.
so that's gonna help with the small bridge grant. They fund up to 500, so I'm hoping we can kinda offset the MVP and not have to ask for $1 million from them, where we have to do a 25% match. I'm hoping to only have to ask for like 500 or 600 from MVP, so the
Mhm.
match is less. So that's all happening now. Those grant applications are all due between March and April, so I'm working on those.
Mhm.
So that's kind of Keys Road, and you'll see the request for a little bit more funding to get that requirement to apply for that grant.
Do you find that, aside from just moving on to Supermeta, do you find that coming into the spring season that applications for determinations become?
Those will probably pick up.
Yeah,
Yeah, when people realize they have these projects, but they now trigger a wetland review.
determination.
Yeah, so those will pick up. I also have the open space plan update going on. It's expiring this August. I'm doing the RFQ for 3 consultants. I'd like to send that out, see what we can get.
Mhm.
Get a committee together, get that rolling mid-spring. That, we have funding for that, we have an account for that.
Okay.
So we have about $31,000 to pay a consultant for that. The other grant I'm working on is the park grant for the Bailey Brook Park up Leo
Phase.
Drive. This is, so
Phase.
it's in phase 2, which is the design right now. So we got an award under under the park grant for 380,000 we got for construction.
Right.
We don't get the funding till the next fiscal year. We had to ask the city for 39,000
Right.
for the remainder of the design. It wasn't taken into account for the previous.
I know there were some changes.
Yes, yes. So I just met with John Allard from Fuss & O'Neill. He's got the design rolling. The plans were pretty much done because they've done a presentation. They did the clearing over there and the walk. So he's working on like the playground design right now. He has to be done by June 1st so we can go out to bid for our construction phase, which we have the grant money for.
Yeah,
And that has to be done by the following June of 23.
the completion of the
Completion
construction?
of the project, yep,
Mhm.
yeah, has to be done.
So are there any park grants that we're still applying for? Or?
No plot, just finishing
Just
up
the
the
execution of,
finishing up the design phase and then going for construction bidding,
okay.
so. So those are the three major things, and then I'm sure there'll be applications coming in as the spring gets
Sure.
rolling, so.
Questions, comments?
I don't have any further questions.
No, thank you.
Katie, thank you for coming.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
You're welcome.
Councilor requests are the next thing. What's the status, what's happening with our pothole patrol?
We're out every day. We're on half of Pearl Street the other day.
Yeah.
And
How many crews are there? Is there just the one, or?
there's two pothole trucks, and then we also come down and get mix.
Are they up and running?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So we're not using coal patch?
We're also using coal patch just to
Yeah.
try to put a Band-Aid on it, unfortunately, until we get through, until the spring. It's gonna get worse.
So you guys know coal patch is kind of a mixture of oil and sand that is used when the asphalt place isn't operating.
We are picking up some loads of coal patch, but we're also using the pothole patrol as well. It's just, there comes a point where you can only put out so much with the pothole patrol so fast, so it's better off to just go get it and try to at least do emergency repairs, and then it's just gonna get worse before it gets better, unfortunately, with
Yeah,
freeze.
freezing and thawing and.
More snow plowing.
Yeah, the rain getting into the, the melt gets into the cracks, and then it freezes at night, and
Then it expands,
We've seen many of them, obviously some large holes, and then, a few days later, they have been filled, so, you can tell they're out there, I've seen them a few times.
That's the only thing I wanted to bring up. Was there anything that you guys have questions or comments about?
Let's request more, we had discussed, I had some information over about the tree on Whitney Street. I don't know if I should explain that further. There's a resident on Whitney Street at the corner of Adams and Whitney, where Whitney used to continue through and connect to the other part of Whitney. So there's a road, the road is no longer there. The question is whether or not the city still owns that, or whether it's been removed and as a road, and that if the city council voted to discontinue the road, it's the residents' problem.
It reverts to the center line,
Exactly.
the abutters, right?
Right, exactly. Reverse the center line of the abutters. We don't know that that was ever done. There's a tree overhanging that's on the old road that's rotted and whatnot. So I don't know if we've gotten any further on that.
I know it was sent to John Flick's office and also the city clerk's office. I
Yeah,
haven't heard that.
I didn't know if you had heard anything else. Okay, I'll continue to follow up on that. And then the other thing is I had been speaking to a resident was wondering if we could put a bus stop. I had spoke to you about it, and you said that obviously it's more in Mart's. I spoke to Mart. Mart is willing to put one in. I don't know if there's a process to facilitate that with them. If they need DPW's assistance or.
I don't think it's anything on us. I've never been
No,
involved.
never been involved.
I don't know
Okay.
if it's the DARE officer in the school or something. They go down and they take a look at the intersection and make sure it's safe. I believe that's how it's done.
Yeah, Mark did their assessment, and they said they'd be willing to construct one, and they said there may be a part on the city side, so I just wanted to ask if there's anything. I need to get the ball rolling here for that, but if not, I will continue following up there. Thank you.
Joyce?
I have nothing today, thank you.
Okay, good enough. Anything else for us, Dane, or? Okay, we can entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes, meeting stands adjourned. Thank you all.